All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Side Seat Podcast. We're doing a special 2.5 or 0.25 episode, the EP, so extended play. And we actually have guests with us today on a musical group, the Old 57s out of Davenport, Iowa. I'm joined by AJ, Alyssa, and Luke.
Hello, how is everyone doing?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And Victor forgot my name, the originator of the Side Seat Podcast, Eric Nesbitt.
Yeah, or Nez for short. Yeah. So guys, thanks for joining us. We know you just got done playing. It was a great set. So kind of give us a little bit of a background, because you guys, you were very specific with what you said as far as the kind of sound you are.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we've been running this band for almost 10 years now, and we've had about 20 drummers and 20 bass players, but it's always been me and Alyssa in the front run of the show. And it's always been a blast doing things that not everyone's doing, because any given bar is doing Jesse's Girl or Margaritaville or Hit Me the Best Shot. So we want to do something that was a little bit different than most people were doing. However, we all want to do things that were true to music, and this is the best music ever written to me, is the early 50s and 60s, vintage rock and roll stuff.
And we were me and Nez were kind of discussing this earlier, like Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, all those guys, Big Bopper and all that stuff, they were kind of ahead of their time, because they were like the original punk rockers, maybe even.
And they really were, and they were pioneers. And I think, is it Jerry Lee Lewis is the only one that's left?
Yeah, from the original ones, yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis and Wanda Jackson, and everyone else is turned into an angel by now.
Yeah.
But they were pioneers, and they were punk rock, and it was about, first they were mixing hillbilly music with country, and then they started adding some of that black African-American soul. And then they created this whole rockabilly sound, and I fell in love with that, and I love doing it for the energy.
Yeah, and so your vocals are based off of that too? You like to perform this certain type of music there, Alyssa?
I do. Actually, when AJ and I first met, our first date was to the Buddy Holly crash site.
Wow.
And so, since he walked into my life, it's just become a whole new thing. Cool. So yeah.
And she's identified with a lot of female singers. Like, who are the ones you like?
Wanda Jackson, Janice Martin, Connie Francis.
Sure. See, they're pulling names on us that we haven't even covered yet, so that's pretty awesome. And obviously, that is what we kind of do with this podcast. We kind of like to explore new sounds, different things, and I'm sure you've had plenty of that being influenced by. And you said retro rock. You didn't say classic rock. You said vintage rock. That's right. I'm sorry.
We talked a little bit about classic rock being some of the late 60s, early 70s type of stuff, and then it goes into hair, then it goes into grunge and does something different. But the original vintage rock and roll, the first form of rock and roll, is from the 50s and 60s, and all started with Bill Haley. Rocket 88 was the first rock and roll record recorded in 1954, whatever it was, and I think that's what it was. But yeah, so that's the first origin of rock and roll. Before that was either hillbilly music or Lawrence Welk and Perry Como and that stuff, and then nothing against that stuff. It's just a different, those are old swinging standards and things.
So here's the question I have. So, obviously you guys are very accomplished musicians. So we want to know about some of your influences. You, as the lead guitarist and rhythm guitar section of the band, who is some of your influences, guitar players?
Sure. Hands down, without missing a beat, it would obviously be Elvis Presley. And he wasn't a guitar player, he was more of a frontman personality. Yeah. But Elvis Presley, just as a front person, easily Buddy Holly is my all-time favorite artist. But once again, they weren't phenomenal guitar players. It was just kind of their spirit about it. So stylistically, when I play guitar, I love playing Chuck Berry. He's got great licks. I think that's incredible. There's things about certain musicians that I wish that I could pull out. Yeah. Sometimes, just not thinking about it. There's a whole laundry list to think about. But
sure. So do you do you kind of like pull everything and try to go through yourself with that while you're performing?
I do. I never realize what I'm going to do next, and I always kind of get a little lost, and I try something new, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I always enjoyed Dick Dale, and he was the original surf guitar player, and I listened to a lot of surf when I was a kid, and I started listening to that, and of course then we started listening to some punk rock and those things. But I took the things that the guys were doing early on, and I started making just I would take my favorite part of a Johnny Cash hook and my favorite part of a Chuck Berry hook, and I'd kind of do something, whatever. And so now we're trying to do the songs that have made rock and roll history, so I've had to emulate those guitar hooks and those guitar licks.
So, like, in the 70s and 80s, it was a big time for, like, guitar shredders, obviously. Sure. Do you ever pull any of the influences from any of those musicians from that era?
I'm not as good as them. I'm a one-trick pony.
That's right.
I can have the one thing I've got is I can play fast right here, but I can't do anything cool over here.
Yeah.
So my right hand is always really, really fast, and I can do the barrel roll, they call it.
Oh.
I can do that for days, but no, I can't shred like those guys. Those are, monsters or guitar heroes, as they were.
Exactly.
Oh, very good, very good. So, vocally, who's your? Obviously, you've named some influences from the past, and can you give us any as we go down the line, the '70s and '80s and '90s and ongoing?
Well, I was born in '87, so I can't give too much about that stuff. But I don't know. Going back to vintage, Wanda Jackson, she has these deep, deep growls and these high hiccups, and that is the most fun for me to sing because I go from to so it's fun.
Well,
87 makes me feel really old right now.
yeah, Nez likes to show his age on this show. So, hey, Luke, man, you mind if I ask how is it lugging around that giant bass, man?
The bass drum.
Yeah,
It's kind of heavy,
there you go.
but it's all right. It's worth
All
it.
the drums, is it quick to set up and
It's
all that
all-
good stuff?
It's all part of the gig.
Yeah,
So
gotcha. So,
Well, as behind the Skins, who are some of your influences as a drummer?
well, a lot of my drumming influences are 70s and 80s, but the drummer that made me want to pick up the drumsticks and actually play drums was Ringo Starr. But the first band that I actually played drums to was the Beach Boys and the Beatles. So I love 60s music and 50s music. It's awesome.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, here you go, Victor.
all right, well, thank you, Nez. Well, guys, like I said, thank you for showing up tonight, and I know the rain kind of dampened a little bit things, but you guys got inside and performed a great set. So, what are your upcoming gigs coming up for the summer? I know you got to be busy.
We're always busy. We play every single Saturday until Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
everyone can always look at www.theold57s.com. That's with the numbers, not the letters. We play every Saturday. I know we play regularly at the Beer Stubes in both LeClaire and Moline.
Wide River Winery.
Wide River Winery. I can never say that word no good.
Is that in LeClaire there too? or-
They have one in Claire and LeClaire.
Oh, okay.
We're always around the Quad Cities and surrounding areas every single Saturday night. And usually we do an 8 to midnight thing, and we like to do a dance crowd for the older folks, a little bit of rock and roll for the young kids.
Yeah.
So-
All right. Well, hey,
Now,
man.
do you guys do any of the roller derby stuff anymore?
We haven't done that in past years, but who's to say we wouldn't? It just hasn't worked out lately.
All
So
right. Well, hey guys, again, thanks for jumping on really quick. I know this is last minute, but it was very enjoyable having you guys. So AJ, thank you much.
Thank you.
Alyssa, thanks for joining. Luke, thank you. Good luck.
Mr. Ness.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
We'll see you guys on the road, I'm sure. All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Victor.
All right.
It was great, man. Thank you so much for doing this because we did.